All right. What's up, internet? Quick experiment. I'm in Cape Town right now with the team of Acta. All right. What's
here
up, internet?
and
Building Acta. I just wanted to live stream a bit of what I'm working on as an experiment. Today, there's just a short 30-minute session on agentOS, which is one of the new ventures I'm building. I just want to see if it's interesting to kind of document and follow along. So, yeah, let's get into it. I'm just gonna try to kind of document what I do step by step. And maybe for someone this is useful. So yeah, let's go. So the tool I'm working on right now is Draw, sort of just a whiteboarding tool, which I use a lot to structure my thoughts. And the venture I want to focus on right now is agentOS. Just quickly let me fix some music, so we're then good to run. Okay. Let's go. So the sort of core problem I want to start from is that right now building truly AI native companies doesn't work yet. And what that means, if you look at how a startup is being built at the moment, there's still a lot of humans involved. And of course you use AI in many places like Cursor or some LLMs to automate customer support or whatsoever. But it's not yet in a position where you just have, some sort of AI that you can use to build an entire company out. And we want to work on that problem and figure out whether there's a technical solution we can build towards that. There's some things like cofounder.co. I saw a video of them a while ago. And I think they're attempting to go into the direction of these sort of agent orchestration layers. However, from my initial look at it, it's not fully solving yet the way I have it in mind. So the idea is fixing this and figuring out how we can build truly AI native companies that work. So I think we need to start with a basic solution. And the use case I would like to start from is actually product building. Because right now, if you look at the product process, let's actually sketch it out. Current reality. So let me sketch it out more. So the basic way it works right now, so let's say you have an idea for an MVP, a product you want to build. That's an example, like an AI coaching app. And then if you want to move from this idea to an actual product you can give to the world, you will start with some wireframes, just thinking about the product more deeply, like what is the basic feature set, sketching that out, and then you go about building the initial MVP. And there you kind of set up a repo on GitHub. You use Cursor a lot to write the code, test it in browser, iterate until you sort of have a version that is good to go. What we also have right now is, let's say, a lot of these coding agents, where the goal basically is that software development becomes more autonomous. And sort of the ideal solution I want right now looks a bit different. And sort of the idea we could be working towards with agentOS, which again is just, a thing we want to explore more, is that I have the software I can use. I just type in something like, hey, I want to build an AI coaching app for founders or whatever. And then you sort of interact with this agentOS thing as it goes off, but it's sort of async in nature. So in the system, there would be handling of a coding agent, a testing agent, some sort of different things, pieces you put together. So it more feels like talking to, let's say, a real product development team. So it's sort of like, hey, product lead Elias, you talk to. And Elias takes care of orchestrating, doing all of the steps, and just coming back with the result, from which you then get feedback again, and it just runs. And you have sort of these more long-running tasks. And right now, there's obviously a lot of companies working on it. And what I see is that a lot of those companies work in very specific domains, which means they really focus on making coding agents even better, so they can handle more complex tasks and software building as they become more advanced in their capabilities. However, if you think about how a product team works or how a startup is built, it's more than that. It's not just, the coding itself, but there's different roles that play together. There's the product designer that creates initial designs and wireframes and things a bit more about the user experience. Then this is being handed off to an engineer who can implement this very nicely. Sometimes this is the same person, but still, if you think in more formal roles, this is how you would go about it. And the engineer builds it, sends the first prototype back to the product lead, and then gets feedback again and so forth. And this sort of use case would be extremely valuable for me because I have a lot of ideas I want to build and not enough resources to, spin up a team for all of the ideas I want to just try and test out. So what I would rather do than, working with a human team is have some sort of agentic solution, AI solution, like an AI, whatever you want to call it. A lot of buzzwords in here. But whatever you want to call it, where I can just say, hey, this is what I want. It just goes off, does the work, comes back with the result. I can give feedback and iterate. And there's a lot of hard problems around that. But this is sort of the solution I think I roughly envision, at least with a very narrow starting case. I think there's always still this human in the loop aspect. I don't want it to go off on its own, completely autonomous, at least in the first version that we do. So yeah, let's maybe add this version 0.1. And let's think a bit more about how we actually could build something like that. And what I'm doing whenever there's like an idea I'm considering to build, always go through this mental exercise of thinking more clearly, hey, what is the current reality? What do I actually want? And the sort of quiet work I rarely do, documenting, doing a video about it. So this is why you will see me, just think a bit more deeply about, hey, what are the elements? And then I just try to come back and explain to you what's happening right now, what the new insights are, and so forth. So yeah, let's continue. Like, how could we build this? So I think the right starting point actually for this is that sort of building a nice chat interface, what I actually want is a coworker in Slack, which is the way also a lot of products work right now, whether it's a linear agent you can use to spec out issues very quickly, or it's a cursor coding agent you also can kind of run, or Devin, all from Slack. This is also how it should work. It should feel like a real coworker that can get work done. And I think also if you look at other products in the space, like Co-Founder, I think they're probably going for the same sort of vibe where you hand off work, the thing goes off, does the work, and then comes back. And also I think the challenge in general is that all of these coding agents and agents we see in the world right now, they are capable to some degree, but let's say only in 10% of cases they actually return with the perfect work. And sometimes you then go into these endless iterations where you give it feedback, but the AI doesn't quite handle it right. And sort of what we should aim for is that the quality of the completion of the work that is being done by the system is just much more higher in quality than the current things that exist out there. And there's, I think, a bunch of tricks we can do with the technology that exists today. to kind of see if we can push the limit here a bit more. As mentioned, this is an exploration. I don't know if this will work. It's quite an ambitious project. At the same time, yeah, this is how I think about it. Let me quickly check something. I'll be right with you. All right. So I'm gonna put up some music. Actually, I think I can also share the screen in the stream. I just want to make sure there's no copyright problems we're doing. Okay, just give me a second. I'll be right back. All right.
A complete AI creation platform.
All right. I hope it's not too loud in terms of audio. Then we can continue with the implementation of the concept of what this could look like from a future vision perspective. All right, just trying to also check the messages here. The team is right next door. They're working there and stuff. I just want to go live here. So yeah, sharing that. What degree? I started business, but actually started coding when I was 12, 13, something like that. And then yeah, I've built a lot of side projects ever since. And yeah, now building Acta, which is the most ambitious project and company of my life, where we try to basically figure out how we can build an environment and system where we can really increase the rate of company creation and also create companies from a different place, not built for exits and vanity metrics, but actually making human life better. That's what we're all about. So yeah, let's think a bit more about the implementation of what this could look like. So the direction I'm thinking right now, so if we want to make the idea a reality of, okay, hey, you can just give in a product like, hey, an AI coach for coaching, AI coach for founders or whatever. You have the Slack coworker, which is sort of the agentOS, how you kind of operate with it or interact with it. And then sort of is handed off to the actual execution platform that we're going to build out. And when I think about, building these long-running, rather complex workflows, I always try to think about the anecdote in the human world. So I try to model it after, the way teams are working right now. And the way I envision it, that sort of you have a product lead, which is in charge of speccing out issues, for example, to the engineering lead, which sort of could also be product manager, maybe more from a description. And then we have this engineering lead, which is sort of a role that can then allocate tasks to the team. And the team is a software engineer, which would be in this case like Cursor, Cortex, or Cloud Code, some sort of agentic coding solution. You might have a code reviewer, which could be, a Code Rabbit or Cursor itself or whatever, like some provider. And then also some testing. So the flow would be that, hey, the product lead says, hey, start with the basic implementation of a chat feature for this AI coaching app. The engineering lead then starts by giving it to the software engineer that just goes out, develops it, comes back. Then the engineering lead might push this thing to the code reviewer saying like, hey, check this, did we do any stupid mistakes with a certain, prompt that we could do, and then go back and then to the tester and so forth. And you could kind of see how step-by-step work is being moved around and how the end product would become better and better. I think the core element also is always a repo, obviously. That's where the work happens. So the repo, I think, is, where we pull everything together, the thing, that every part of the agents, every worker, in that sense, every role, could kind of access. It's the central piece. But just the rough way I would think about structuring it. At least it would be interesting to try this sort of idea. Let's put it more to the right. The same is also true for the product lead. So there might be, sub-roles, skills that, one person might have, but we want to simplify it because this magic AI, you give it to it and it can do everything. It just doesn't exist yet. It might at some point. But the way I think we can make this reality is by breaking things down into smaller pieces. So obviously, I would be able to do all of the three above here. But if you look at AI and how it works today, it's not as capable yet. So we would need to break it down a little more and more. I'm just going to think about the product side, what the different elements could be here. All right, so on the product side, if you break it down, you might have, a UX sketcher type of person that thinks really deeply about the interaction of the different screens that should exist, and a sort of wireframer that thinks a bit more about the general structure of a given software, and then the UI designer, which does it nicely. And again, all of these things are commonly done by one person that is skilled in all of them, but to dumb it down for the LLMs, we could do it this way. And for some of these, we, might have existing agents in the world, so sort of providers like CodeRabbit for code review that we could kind of plug into. However, the problem is not everything exists yet, so there might be also some, custom solutions we need to build. Really depends on the use case. Then the idea I just had, so the repo will probably represent the actual work on software you're building, assuming a web use case. However, we also need to think about the communication between the agents if we orchestrate them. Because just working with text is limiting. Let's say the wireframe guy has created, let's say, an image or some markdown file or some basic HTML. Just text, I think, can get really messy context-wise. So I thought it might make sense to have sort of this shadow repo, which is like a meta repo, in which certain documents are shared. So when the wireframe guy, like agent, says, "Hey, I'm done with the wireframes. Can you give me feedback, product lead?" It might refer to actually a specific document in the meta repo, which is used as, a sort of working folder, Google Drive, if you will, of the system, Alright, just quickly checking if there's even anyone watching. Nice, 3 viewers, let's fucking go. Oh, that's fun. It's a bit uncomfortable documenting just streaming this, but I want to get used to it and get better at doing my work synchronously while speaking about it. So it's just an experiment. What's up? How are you? It's good, bro. I think I have 3 viewers.
Damn,
Bro.
Damn.
The 3 viewers.
Shoutouts to them. The live stream will
Shout
be
out,
later
shout out.
to see unfiltered, I guess.
Maybe.
Oh,
Maybe. What am I doing? I'm working on a new idea. Have I told you about agentOS yet? More deeply?
no, it was very vague and experimental last time.
Then let me tell you more. You want to hear it?
Of
You wanna
course,
see
of
it?
course, man.
All right. So, the big vision. We want to sort of solve the problem of building truly AI native companies, but this doesn't work yet. So what that means, instead of having a designer, an engineer, a product person, a marketer, whatever, it's always humans right now, which use AI to kind of do the thing and do it more effectively. But you still don't have just an AI company that just exists out of AI. The current reality is you might have an idea for an MVP, AI coaching app. You kind of do the wireframes, you then build the initial MVP with like cursor and all the tools. But this is not fully autonomous. And the crazy thing that I would love to have is I, say like, hey, I want an AI coaching app MVP. It gets sent to agentOS, and it just does its thing for a few hours, maybe days. Comes back, says, oh, here's the thing, look at it, give me feedback, right? So there's more long-running tasks which are much more complex to handle for AI today, which are actually not possible to be handled today. And now we want to figure out how we could potentially build this, and this is just the first rough draft, where we have the initial focus on just making product development on the web very easy, so not native apps and SEO and growth and whatever, just focus on web development. Tell me, tell the mic.
If all the guys in the live stream chat or maybe later on YouTube, we are currently launching an app called Reflector, and I think it's really about interaction with an AI. And I thought of like, okay, if you set up a process that will take a few days, it's very important that you don't just write, I want a coaching app, do it, but that you have an AI that really, tells you, okay, what are these specific things you want? What are this? I think we're in a very good position to do this.
Yeah, I mean, what we basically do now is exactly the example that I want to do even faster. So we build Reflector, we learned, hey, this is wrong, this is right. We need to kind of launch a new version and an experiment. And now for the experiment, there's Arda and Eli working on it for 7 days. Now imagine you could give it to agentOS.
Yeah.
It works for, let's say, a day because it's fast, it's AI. Just non-stop, you spend 200 euros on it because of all the compute.
Implements this integration.
And then it comes back and says, hey, here's the thing. So now like we humans can still, do stuff, but we can just do in the meantime, like Elias could work on 5 other iterations of it, right? Because you have the system which does all the boring work, just sort of the idea, I think, where I want to go.
So we want to expand the task load of one
AI.
prompt
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
to like
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically now you would have it in Slack. You can kind of text to it. It really looks like a Slack coworker. And then the way it works on the engineering side, you break it down into sort of agents or workers, where you have product lead, for example, engineering lead. And then this is broken down into other things, and we kind of need to make them work and talk to one another. That's a rough idea.
This is a question I had. Is it then using more than just cursor and also tapping into other models just to like
basically think all of the things that exist to like even at some point if you have cursor for software testing, like finding bugs, it's just made for that. You could put this as a building block in there. So you orchestrate all of the different agents and AIs that exists with the one layer, which is agentOS. Wow.
I fucking love that.
Yeah.
Well, when do you think can we expect the first
MVP?
MVP?
Johan is coming on Monday.
For real, on Monday?
Yeah, he's arriving Monday. Or Tuesday morning. He flies on Monday. Yeah, this will be good. He's going to be the main founding engineer for agentOS. So I'm right now just doing the preparation work, kind of think about the product more deeply, the ideas, the important ideas around how we could build this. Then he will just, go off and try to build it quickly. If we're really good, we can show something very shitty basic in, let's say, 2 weeks, I hope, maybe a bit faster. And then it's just a question of iteration. And, there's a lot of hard technical problems in there. So I don't fully know yet.
I'm very excited. Because right now we have a B2C case, a B2B case. Will this be a B2C, B2B?
Well, anyone, but mostly B2B. So it's like sort of those founders that want to build companies faster, better, and AI native companies. So anyone who wants to build a company now could go ahead and build that company without needing to hire a team. And like, let's say, build companies at 100x less the cost.
I like this because I see this, I don't know, what is it called, Base 44 or something, which also promotes it. And I often think like, okay, there's like one tool. And if the concept of agentOS is very good. Yeah. Well, I'm very excited. As a media marketing
maybe that's a good part to end the stream. It was just an experiment for the ones who are watching. Thank you. I hope it was sort of interesting. And we're gonna grab lunch now. No, dinner, not lunch.
Dinner. Then we go to the gym. You wanna hear one nice fact?
Tell me.
We got 20 signups in the first 30 minutes.
Nice. After a new reel. Did you post it? Let's go.
Joe reel is going well.
Nice.
Our reel is going well.
Guys, we're working hard here in Cape Town.
Yes.
See you again
He will post nice videos on his Instagram.
Let's go. Bye.